Okay, so you want to start or should I?
Yeah, well, like, so I kept seeing this show advertised kind of because I follow Alexandra Daddario, Sydney Sweeney, who are actresses in this movie, and they kept promoting it, and I didn't really pay much attention to it. But then I realized that it was a HBO Max production or HBO production, sorry. And I don't know about UKC, but HBO is like
Yep,
pinnacle of TV shows.
100%.
It just really is. You look at Game of Thrones, True Detective season one, Chernobyl, they're making The Last of Us. And there's millions of shows that I'm missing right now, but their quality is always fantastic. When it's shot, the actors, the writing, the directing, it's always pretty good. It's always a solid watch. Some of them are great, some of them are amazing. So that's why I probably sat down to watch these 6 episodes, and they're all around an hour long, so 6 hours. And I didn't, like you, I didn't watch any trailers for this. I just had seen images and posters and stuff like that. So I went into this fresh. I like doing this
Yeah,
for
me too.
movies and shows sometimes, not knowing what it's about. I've done this before with Wrath of Man, with The Gentleman, with a few other movies as well, where I've never seen any piece of
Yeah.
trailers. And I've been intrigued. The main plot for this episode is the exploits of various guests and employees at a tropical resort over the span of a week. So we follow these guests that go to this resort in Hawaii, I think it is. So you have a family, you have a new married couple, you have a woman who's going through a midlife crisis. You have a few. You have the hotel manager who has kind of a mysterious kind of past surrounding him. You've got some other people that work at the resort. Like it's. I was expecting like a massive like cliffhanger or a massive kind of stuff, something to happen in episode 2 or 3 or 4, and it sets up the show. But I kept waiting around for something to happen.
Yeah.
I kept waiting for that big thing to like, oh right, okay, now I'm intrigued. But we don't get that big thing until maybe the last episode, and then it's just
Yeah.
over. Just like, oh, okay, oh, well, I would have liked to see the repetitions of that.
Exactly.
Like what happens next. I would have liked to see. Does he have to? Do these people have to cover this kind of thing up? But no, nothing. Now the critics have loved this 88%, and audiences have loved it 78%. So people have enjoyed it. Now maybe it's because you have some beautiful people in this movie, like Alexandra Daddario and
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney, who are walking around in bikinis. That could be a big factor in it as well. And look, no judgments here whatsoever. I think those two are actually pretty good, great actors. Alexandra Daddario was in True Detective season one. So she'll always be a favorite of mine. And Sydney Sweeney is brilliant in the show Euphoria, which is another HBO show. Definitely check that out, Casey. It's awesome. But yeah, we're just following these people, and they're living their lives, and they're at this hotel, and they're just going through personal problems and relationship problems. Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool, oh, that's cool. But I, I'm like, why was this show made? But I think there is a lot of undertones to it. About living your life, about how status of rich people compared to minorities and stuff like that. There is some undertone there, especially like we get little bits about like the Hawaiian people were driven off their land for this resort to be built, and now the people who are from Hawaii, their ancestors that lived in this land, they're now working at this hotel where they were ran from, stuff like that. So there is some interesting stuff to it, but yeah, I thought it was a fine watch. But I did like the score
Yeah.
to it, the actual the show, how it like in anticipation it builds up. You kind of you're not on the edge of your seat, but you're kind of your heartbeat is going as well. You're in this moment, and yeah, so it's a really high, well done production, nice directing, good performances. Was just missing that extra something.
Yeah, look, I think I think I liked it more than you. I really loved the look, firstly, before I get into this show, I would say that one of my favorite movies or shows to watch is getting a bunch of people, different varied people together and, putting them in one room or one location and then, see what happens, right? So that creates a lot of tension, mystery, their secrets. So I love that kind of storytelling. I love whenever that happens. So with that said, obviously this also has that with a massive scale, thing location, with the White Lotus being one of the award-winning, two-time award-winning or something, restaurant that people go for vacation. So no restaurant, a hotel. So yeah, I the premise was very intriguing to me, and people, every week they were praising this show so much. And Sean said he started watching, then I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch it. So I didn't see any trailer, no posters, nothing, and I just jumped right into it. Um, the opening scene was very interesting because it kind of showed you from there's this character called Armand White, and he's basically the main character, I think, of the show. He is the owner and the manager of the White Lotus, and
He's like the connective tissue to
yes,
everything that's going
yeah,
on. He's the manager, so he comes across all of these
exactly.
guests.
So we see the opening through his perspective, and he is, initially he is seen as the lead of the show, and you see from his perspective, you meet people from his perspective and all that. So they already lay down the rules of how he is and how other people are from his side, because he is a manager, and he is in the service line, right? So he has to be cool and composed. And obviously this is a resort for rich people, so you somehow you'll get spoiled brats, and they will just be entitled and cause shit, so he'll have to deal with that, right? So that was also interesting way to set up the characters at first, and they kind of show you who each character is by description, and then some of them turn out to be different than what you first see. Obviously, just like real life and all that. But yeah, I thought that the introduction was pretty good, and then like you, I was waiting for that one thing. Maybe this is a thriller. Maybe there's a murder here, maybe it's horror. I didn't know the show was even about, right? So I was just waiting for something to happen. And then I realized that, oh, it's just, we just have to watch them, you know, watch stuff happen until they're here. So they were on vacation for like a week or two, and that's the the entire time period of this. And each character is pretty interesting in the way that they behave with other characters, as well as the manager Armand. So yeah, all that stuff was interesting. There's some racial undertones. There's colonialism. There's um, white guilt. All of that stuff is in there, and I think they did a pretty good job of tackling these issues, because it's like everything was in there, and it was like playing with fire. you know and cancel culture, woke culture, all that stuff is there. So I was like, oh shit, so maybe this is why critics liked it, because they always look for that sort of stuff in shows. And I'm someone who doesn't like it when there's overuse of all that in the movies or shows, when it becomes very distracting from the
Yeah,
main story. But here it didn't feel it like that. It felt very organic, and I enjoyed it. Was done in a fun way as well. Like there's a lot of comedy to it, because of how the parents are and how kids are. And some of
yeah,
them are unknowingly racist and sexist and all that. So it becomes kind of funny how you see it from the kids perspective. And there's a lot of fun stuff with that. And
yeah.
also I was just like you, I was waiting until the end, and the sixth episode came. And you know although a lot of cool shit does happen, and I was really enjoying it, I just wanted to keep watching it, but nothing major happens, right? And all the stuff
No,
is just keeping on building up until the very end, so you expect something big to happen, right? But that never happened. And even the
You know,
end plot twist or reveal or whatever that happened, it was very anticlimactic. And I was like, oh, really? They didn't even, build up to what happened at the end. And
didn't even talk
yeah,
about
exactly. But I think
it. Didn't,
yeah, but I think the ending was kind of rushed, and from a viewer's perspective, like it happened and then it kept happening and then it ended, right? And I was like, okay, maybe there's a message there about how, rich people can get away with anything and all that stuff. So that was kind of the message, but it kind of felt anticlimactic by the end. And then I was really disappointed because of it being 6 episodes. I was thinking that it's a mini series, so I thought that was legit the end of the show. But then I went
yeah.
online and saw some YouTube videos, of the making of the show and all that, and then they were like, "Oh, season 2 is coming." So that kind of gave me some
Yes.
relief because a lot of the character arcs were started but never explored in the end. So I was like,
Yes.
why did you just
But
bounce off of it, right? So if season 2 is coming,
yeah,
then I was like, okay, fine. Yes. Sure.
it's officially renewed for season two,
Oh,
but it looks like it's going to be with an entirely
yeah.
new cast.
Yeah.
I think there is some characters that you could bring
I
back
think the hotel
in, like, if they go with it.
cast might be the same because most of them.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But I was reading up as well, and it's going to take place at a White Lotus property, but in a completely different place, not Hawaii.
Oh,
It's going to take place somewhere else. So I don't know if there's a White Lotus in where else, Barbados, Japan. I don't know, but that's what's going to happen in the next season. That's the talk.
cool. I love
Now,
that. I mean, I like the concept
yeah,
of, like I said, even just the premise of this show, I liked it because I always love when you make a, you know, movie around a bunch of people that come together and um, you just have to see what happens.
yeah, and like the White Lotus properties, the resorts are basically for rich people. So this cast could pop up again in a different
Yeah.
resort somewhere else. One or two of them in season two or three, whatever that was. But you see, so like if I just called out a few movies to you, like, and just putting them all together, like, what would you think of them? So Pitch Perfect 3, the Emoji Movie, okay? Let's say Magic Mike. We have another one here. Nacho Libre with Jack Black. I've never seen that one. What would you think about those movies? Do you think they're cinema, or what would you think about those
Are you
movies?
asking me? I'm Martin Scorsese. Well, I like Magic Mike. I haven't seen the other movies. I haven't seen the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, well,
No.
yeah, well, the emoji movies regarded as one of the worst movies
Yeah.
ever, and Pitch Perfect 3 was pretty bad. Even though I like Pitch Perfect 1, Pitch Perfect 3 was just like wasn't even about acapella singing. It was just terrible. But the writer for those movies created this show.
Oh,
So yeah, what's his name? You've seen him pop up in movies
Mike White.
before. Mike
Yeah.
White is his name. Yeah, he's been in School of Rock. He wrote School of Rock as well. A few other Jack Black movies. But I just thought it was interesting to see that he created this show when
He
his
finally got a
he,
win.
he yeah. Well, like his highest rated is School of Rock, which he wrote years ago with Jack Black. But the White Lotus is up there as one of his one of his biggest hits, and the Emoji Movie was his lowest with 7% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow.
So, uh, so yeah, fair play to him, and he did a pretty good job. Maybe he found his calling, this kind of dramatic, kind of satire
Yeah.
type of show. But yeah, I don't think it was a risk-taking show, but I think it was well made, well written, and some
Yeah. The cast
interesting
was
characters.
also very, very diverse. So you get so many cultural backgrounds and you delve into their thinking, whether it's right or wrong, they still tackle that and they get into that. So there's an 80 to 90% chance that you will relate to at least one character in the show while watching. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think all of that was very well tackled, and it didn't feel very cringe, except not on purpose. Some scenes were cringe, but that was on purpose, and you're supposed to be cringing at that. But yeah, it
yeah,
it I thought it was a pretty good surprise, and I liked it.
yeah. I definitely watched season
Yeah,
two, and I thought, yeah. So let's see what kind of it could get an even bigger cast for season two, which would be awesome. Some big household names thrown in
yeah,
there. Uh, yeah, I'd be intrigued to see where they go next with the story. I hope they bring something new to it
yeah.
as well.
What did you think of? Firstly, what did you think of the Sydney's friend's character's plan?
I hated
Yeah,
her. I
yeah,
just really hated her. She talks about like the rich people being spoiled brats. She was just really kind of
yeah.
immature, and
I
she was basically she's not rich herself. I don't think. Well, maybe she's well off, but she's not as rich as like Sydney Sweeney's character, their family. She's gone on vacation with them because she's in college with her. Maybe she's rich, but I don't. She didn't really present herself that way. But yeah, she's on holiday with them. She meets a guy. The guy working at the resort. He doesn't have much money and stuff like that. And she comes up with this big elaborate plan to kind of f over the rich people. And so this guy, this that she likes, to get make him money, get him for him to steal something so he can cash in and make some money. Plan was stupid. Her reaction to the plan was stupid, and I just did not like her whatsoever. Immature, and I just wanted to drop kick
yeah.
her. It was just
I
annoying.
loved her story
Yeah,
arc because of the way she was behaving. Some people might actually side with her and think that she's right, but in the end she was proven wrong, and she realizes that. So I really loved that, and I thought that was brilliantly done, because the whole time they just show her perspective, and some people will definitely agree with her and side with her for sure. And the show doesn't, you know sh- at first the show doesn't show it as a bad thing, or something wrong, but it just shows her perspective, and she totally believes that, and she is in that mindset. But at the end, you realize that she was wrong the whole time, and she shouldn't have done that. So I just hope that more people don't relate to her and do what she did. But yeah, the plan just
yeah,
was wrong, and even though the show focused on her motivation for doing it and for her reasons to doing it, um if you're a decent human being, obviously you'll feel that it was wrong. But that's what I felt, and at least by the end, even she realized that. So I thought that story arc was very interesting and intriguing to me, how that all unfolded. But again, by the end, literally nothing happened, no consequence, and the
no,
other person just
I
disappeared.
guess,
So I was like,
yeah,
what?
it was. Yeah, she ruined that guy's life, and she didn't even apologize. So yeah, it was the show was not perfect. There's definitely some arcs that were working resolved or anything like
Maybe
that.
an
So
eight
that's
episode
one a little bit
season would have had
frustrating.
that.
Yeah, but you wrote it for six, so you should
Yeah,
be able to finish it in six
that's right.
episodes if that's the way you wrote it. So yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, it's. I don't know if the Rotten Tomatoes score is justified, 88%. I don't know if that's justified, to be
Critics,
honest.
I think, just
But
like everything that has political undertones. They always like that.
yeah,
So just by
yeah,
having that in your show, they'll obviously like it. That's for sure. But I'm surprised the
yeah,
audience's rating is
yeah,
that high.
and they presented it in your face
Yeah,
as well. It's not like it was hidden. I think if this was like more of a subjective undertone, they wouldn't have liked the movie because they don't know what is the political
exactly.
agenda, what is they wanted spoon fed to them, and this show spoon
Yeah.
feeds it to them. I think if they had to look for and ask questions, they wouldn't have liked it. That's just what
Yeah,
I think
that's
there.
true.
But you know,
Did you
but,
like what happened with a certain character that was, obviously set up at the beginning of the show? Do you did you like the ending, you know, what happened with that character?
which character? Sorry.
Um okay, so at the beginning, the first opening of the show, there's the airport scene, right? And the guy sitting there and the couples. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
loading something into
yeah,
the plane. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that there would be. I thought so. Obviously, we don't know what that scene is because then it jumps back 2 weeks previous or whatever and tells the story of the series. When we got to that moment, I was like, "All right, cool. They're coming back to
Yeah.
the scene." I was like, maybe this guy has, maybe this character has fully developed. Maybe this character has a new lease of life. Maybe this character realizes that he can be better as a person, and he does.
Yeah.
He's not. I didn't get that whatsoever. He says something to a different character, and it just makes me think that this guy is
Yep.
one spoiled rich prick, and he has not developed whatsoever. Even though he's gone through, he's put somebody else who he's supposed to love through something an unsupportive environment, and then he did something terrible as well, and he just doesn't care. He just it affects him for a minute,
Yeah.
and then he's back to his old ways. So yeah, it's and then the character that he meets, where you think, oh, he's gonna maybe apologize, or he's gonna develop as a character. You feel bad for the other
Exactly.
character because then they have to feel bad for acting the way that they did, even though maybe the way they acted was justified.
Yeah.
It was frustrating, very frustrating
Yeah.
show.
It was definitely frustrating and on purpose, I think, because there's so much stuff in here that they make you angry because of the character's choices. But I think that was the goal of, Mike White and all that. But yeah, the character at the end, I've heard, I've seen the episodes, inside the episode videos on YouTube for this show. And Mike White actually says that the character made that choice because that is something realistic and he has seen in real life some of his friends and all that making that choice. So he said that, it was his, motive to include that because we are totally expecting the other thing that was going on, right? But at the end it just switched and I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah. Rich people, man.
Yeah.
Rich people.
Well, overall, I would definitely, I would definitely recommend it. If you have time, definitely check it out. It's worth a watch. I feel, it's very well made, and there's some really funny things in it, and it's